the BS that the media on both sides. You guys are really bad.
Last night on CNN, the CEO of UFC, Ultimate Fighting Championship, Dana White, appeared for, I thought, a great interview, a great exchange where, number one, he didn't take any lying crap from the CNN anchor, but number two, spoke his mind, was truthful, didn't come across as a partisan, didn't come across as in the tank for one person or another, but just flatly explained where we are right now and his opinion on things. You'll remember that Dana White introduced Donald Trump at the Republican National Convention. So, of course, CNN treated him hostilely. But look at how he handled it. This is a masterclass in how, frankly, anyone in his position should handle a hostile interview on a cable news network. But more importantly, this is how you should treat your liberal brother-in-law or somebody who's trying to be the devil's advocate on your Facebook page. You don't always have to flame them. You just address things with facts, with sober reality. And it's amazing, since you have that on your side, how effective it can be. Take a watch.
Campaign has already gotten pretty nasty. I think people expected it to get nasty now that there is a new head of that Democratic ticket. It's the Vice President, Kamala Harris. You know, you have joked before that politics is way nastier than sports or the UFC. But what we're seeing, I mean, there's a labeling of the vice president as a DEI hire. You yourself have prided yourself on giving both men and women opportunities at your organization. What do you think of this message that attacks the race and gender of an opponent?
Yeah, I don't judge people by their politics and you know, who they vote for or any of that stuff. And listen, I don't know Kamala. She seems like she's a nice person. You know, I have nothing against her whatsoever. And like I said, I'm not political, but do I think that she is fit for the job? I do not, personally.
But it's not necessarily about the policy. It's the approach to attacking one. I mean, I know that you are very well versed in what it's like to have a matchup, and people are going to go at each other for the sake of the sport and entertainment. But when it comes to attacks, particularly, I mean, there was that quote from J.D. Vance, who is his running mate, talking about childless cat ladies. I mean, these are not things that are in line with enveloping perhaps women into the fold, which is something you have always stood for, you say, in your sport. Why shouldn't that be the same in politics?
Yeah, well, listen, politics are the most disgusting, nasty. It's atrocious what is said in politics, and the things that are being said on one side are being said on the other side too, about Trump and about you know, his choice for vice president. It goes both ways. This isn't like, oh my God, look what's being said about Kamala. It goes both ways. They're both saying it. And like you said, it's already heated up and gotten nasty. And like you said earlier, it's only going to get nastier. That's politics. It is what it is.
Let me jump in here real fast on two things. Well, one thing. I'll get to the other in a moment. But can I just point out that there's all of the pearl clutching about J.D. Vance's offhand comment when he was a private citizen before he even ran for Senate, let alone as the running mate to Donald Trump, about childless cat ladies. I got to be honest with you. Listen, if people take offense to the idea of there being a childless cat lady, I'm sorry about that. I mean, we saw the white women for Harris Zoom call earlier in the week, and I mean, I think that the evidence presents itself beautifully in that case. But, you know, for the last 8 years, they've been calling Donald Trump Hitler. And by extension, I like to remind you all the time that when they're calling Trump Hitler, they're also calling you, if you support him, a Nazi. I mean, who likes Hitler? Who supports Hitler? Who votes for Hitler? Nazis do. Nazis do. So Dana White is 100% right here. It's nasty on both sides. Absolutely. That's politics. If you don't like it, you know, go home with your toys. Otherwise, put on your big boy pants, strap on the gloves, and let's get to it. But when all is said and done, as an American citizen, if a politician is going to call you a name, if you had your choice between childless cat lady and a Nazi, which would you prefer? That's all.
And it definitely goes both ways.
I don't know that it's going both ways to have the childless cat lady comment
Oh, come
or
on.
a DEI
Oh,
hire.
come
Who's
on.
calling you think that Vice President Kamala Harris is calling JD Vance a DEI hire, Dana? Come on.
But either way, she's going to say other nasty stuff about both of them.
She's been calling him weird for the last week, for God's sake. This is the most uninformed anchor in the world. Oh, they won't call JD Vance names. They're calling him weird left and right. We played you the montage yesterday all across the board. She's probably called him weird. And one other thing. I love that she's saying that DEI is an insult. You know, I don't know about you, but I work for a major corporation. I have to do my quarterly human resource mandated lawyers looking over your shoulder and directing you to take your training so that you don't open up the company to a lawsuit HR video quiz every freaking 3 months, right? And I'm told, I'm indoctrinated, I'm propagandized on a regular basis that DEI is virtuous. Diversity and equity and inclusion is what we're supposed to all be striving for. I mean, it's more virtuous than anything. It's the ideal that we hold up here. So when Kamala Harris is called a DEI hire, why do you immediately think that's an insult? I thought DEI was good. I thought we wanted to hire more people through diversity, equity, and inclusion. But isn't it ironic and hilarious? And I will point this out as long as they keep doing it, that they immediately recoil if you say that somebody is there because of DEI. Why is that an insult? DEI is a wonderful thing. You taught me that. You forced me to believe that. What are we always hearing? Diversity is our strength. Our nation is strong because of our diversity. Well, okay. So fine, your presidential ticket is really strong because of diversity, right? And when Kamala Harris hires her white man to be her running mate, and I assure you it's going to be a white man to be her running mate, I'm going to call him a DEI hire too, because he's only there to bring diversity to the ticket. He's only there because he's white. They're openly saying it right now. So why not believe them? All right, let's get back to
it. It goes both ways. And as voters, what we need to do is cut through all the BS, and you have to look at who do you think is best fit to run the country for the next 4 years. That is our job as voters. All of this stuff is a bunch of nasty BS. All of it. Who's best fit to run the country? You as a voter, that's what you need to decide. Not, oh my God, he said this, and oh my God, she said that. There's going to be a lot of that over the next several months. Cut through, and especially the media. Cut through all the BS that the media on both sides. You guys are really bad. Fox is bad. Everybody's bad. Cut through the BS and vote for who you think is the most fit to run the country. That's our job as voters.
Well, look, I don't wear pearls. I don't pretend to clutch them and pretend that I'm shocked by every nasty insult that is waged against another person. But I think your point, though, about the American people wanting to know who's best for the country, this is the issue. When people are focusing not on policy positions, but personal attacks that have nothing to do with what voters want to hear about, that detracts from the experience of voters making a decision. And that's the problem. And I'm going to just know when you say you guys are terrible, you clearly don't mean Laura Coates. But Dana, that's happening, by the way, right now. And you got this fight that everyone is actually talking about, not in Paris, but now in England. They might be a little mad at you these days, Dana.
Everybody's mad at me these days and in the past, so I'm used to it.
No wonder you get along with politicians. Dana White, nice to talk to you. Thank you so much.
I like that guy. And I like that he approaches this stuff with good humor. And I like the fact that as important as he thinks American politics and government is, it seems to keep it in perspective that ultimately, come on, there are bigger things that we need to focus on as well. So I like all of that. I like the whole package. I really do. Great interview. Great job there on CNN. And a good, as I said, instruction for all of us. And one other thing, though, that I just want to get off my chest on this DEI thing, and then we'll wrap it up. There's only one man in America who can answer the question as to whether Kamala Harris was a DEI hire or not, right? This whole debate about Kamala Harris and whether it's an insult to say she's DEI hire. Well, the one man can clear it up. That would be the man who, in fact, hired her, Joe Biden, right? I mean, he's the one who knows whether she's a DEI hire or not. So why don't we just check in with Joe Biden? Not today, of course. I think he's on life support or an iron lung or maybe preparing the pardon papers for Hunter. No, this is a bit of a flashback, not too long ago, but he was talking about his running mate, Kamala Harris. And well, let's take a listen.
To me, the values of diversity, equality, inclusion are literally, and that's not kidding, the core strengths of America. That's why I'm proud to have the most diverse administration in history. It taps into the full talents of our country. It starts at the top with the vice president.
Well, that's fascinating, isn't it? Kamala Harris is not a DEI hire. How dare you say that Kamala Harris is a DEI hire? Kamala Harris has got there on her merits. Her job as vice president and now the nominee for the Democrats has nothing to do with DEI, nothing at all. Well, here's the guy who hired her. Let's break this down again. You know, DEI is diversity, equity, and inclusion. Diversity, equity, inclusion.
To me, the values of diversity.
Diversity.
Equality.
He means equity. He has mashed potato for brains.
Inclusion.
Inclusion. That would be DEI.
Are literally, and that's not kidding, the core strengths of America. That's why I'm proud to have the most diverse administration in history. It taps into the full talents of our country. It starts at the top with the vice president.
He's proud that DEI is the strength of our country and his administration, and it starts with Kamala Harris. Listen, I didn't say it. He said it. Kamala Harris is a DEI hire. So says the man who hired her, Joe Biden. Thanks, Joe. Good to see you. We've missed you.